Hello everyone, and welcome back to Steins. I'm G, and we just got a rather spooky email that led to a rather unfortunate and inappropriate confrontation, and I guess we are going to deal with the repercussions of that in just a second here. So let's get started. Anyway, how much longer are they going to shower? Looking at the clock, it's already been more than 15 minutes since I got back. They were yelling at me a few minutes ago, but now I hear laughter and happy squeals coming from the shower room. Sounds like they're having a good time. They get along almost like sisters.
Wow, Chris-chan, you're so slim! But Mayuri, your breasts are so big. I'm jealous.
Why are we talking about this? Why? Oh boy. They're checking each other out, aren't they? In my head, I call up the memory of what I saw in the shower. Wet hair, beads of water glistening on their soapy skin, round full treasures hidden by conveniently placed steam. I put my phone to my ear. It's me. We have a problem. I'm under attack from the Mongolian Spot and Ditzy sisters. They're going directly after my sanity. A bold move against the insane mad scientist, Ho Win Kyoma. This is the strongest offensive I've encountered so far. I realize now that vulnerability itself can be a powerful weapon. They're pulling out all the stops, and I don't think my pants can take it. Give in to the temptation? Nonsense. I could never do that. They're fellow lab members, my loyal assistant, and my childhood friend. Must I? Is it truly the will of Steins that I give in? That I raise my hand against my closest companions? If so, then how cruel the fates be. L. Psi. Kongru. After a moment to collect myself, I put away my phone. I need some air. 2 days have passed since Kurusu and Mayuri came to stay. During that time, Daru and I have done our best to support Kurusu's work on the phone wave names exchange. According to Daru, it should be easy to use the LIC to generate black holes for our use. The black holes form at the proton collision point, where the lifter is installed, and exist for only a few seconds before evaporating. During those few seconds, CERN throws a human into the singularity. We'll use those few seconds too. The gravity of the black hole compresses matter to infinite density. CERN uses the lifter to keep the compression under control, but we don't want that. We're going to dial CERN's lifter down, not so much that it endangers the world, of course, but enough to compress our memory data to under 36 bytes. Daru has been coding the necessary program. As for me, I've been searching for our lifter, the unknown device that pumps electrons into the phone wave neighborhood exchange and keeps our black hole open. Kurusu couldn't find anything that could serve as a lifter inside the microwave, so it must be something on the outside. We're not sure what that could be, and so far we have no idea where to start looking. Yesterday, I consulted Daru about that threatening email. But Daru insisted that there's no way CERN could have discovered his hacking, yet. Of course, I had him make doubly sure we hadn't been tracked. His tests came back clean. I understand he's confident in his skills, and I trust him. If Daru says they haven't found out, then they haven't. But somehow, knowing that does not erase my anxiety. It's Friday, and although we still haven't solved the lifter problem, Kurusu is just about done with the time leak machine. Ooh, we have mail. Did we? Yes. Okay, we did that one.
Rukuko, have you gone to any festivals or fireworks shows this year? Maybe you have plans to go with Mayuri-chan later? P.S. I did 22 practice swings with Samadare.
Fireworks shows. No, too crowded. I'm being chased by the organization, remember? The last thing I need is a knife in the back. I don't know Mayuri's plans, but I'm pretty sure she's busy preparing for a different sort of festival soon to take place in Ariake. Okay. Like, this one's a lot more normal, but this one's a little bit more... Like, that's kind of, like... Neither of them are mean. Neither of them are, like, disingenuous. So that's why I'm actually torn between these two for once. I think I'll do genuine. Like, Rukako's a sweet girl. Let's just, yeah. Okay. Naturally, that means it's time for her to give me something else to worry about.
For the final adjustments, we need to use the phone wave.
I groan. In other words, we have to cause the electrical discharge phenomenon. There's a risk involved. A risk called Mr. Brown. As we know, the discharge phenomenon causes the entire building to shake. Last time, Mr. Brown threatened to raise our rent if it happened again. Kurisu and Daru look at me. It's up to you, Ocarine.
Take care of it.
In other words, you're sending me to die.
Your sacrifice will allow us to complete the time leap machine.
Good gracious. Can't read. Besides, you're always the one who talks to the boss for us. Well, maybe it's time for you to put your lives on the line.
I can't. That girl who works there hates me.
Fine, but hear this. I will not die. Like the immortal phoenix, I will return, no matter how many times it takes. With that said, I head down to handle things with Mr. Brown.
Don't die, okay?
As I pass through the lounge, Mayuri looks up from her costume to see me off. When I step into the store, Mr. Brown, Suzuha, and the Chipmunk are watching some comedy show on the massive 42-inch CRT. Watching TV at noon without a customer in sight. Looks like business as usual at the Brown Tube Workshop.
Sup, Okaberry and Taro?
I raise my hand in response to Suzuha's greeting. The Chipmunk, Nai, quickly hides behind her father when she sees me. I see you're as busy as ever. Okabe, buy a CRT. No thanks. I'm not some kind of retro TV otaku. I'd rather buy an LCD. I look around the store as I answer. Huh, I just thought of something. Like CERN's Large Hadron Collider, the phone wave names are to change, must have some kind of electron feed to keep the black hole open. CERN calls this feed the lifter. We still haven't figured out what that is, nor what could be acting as a substitute lifter in our time machine. What if our lifter is somewhere in this shop? Whatever it is must be in close proximity to the phone wave node exchange. It couldn't work otherwise, and the Brown Tube Workshop is located directly below the lab. Could our lifter be a CRT? You've been having a lot of girls over lately, haven't you? Oh boy, we have more mail! Ferris! I don't know if I can physically do the Ferris voice at the moment. I guess we'll see.
My life has no meaning. It's all gone now. No one will look at me. Not anymore. What can I do? Even if I shout, no one can hear.
Oh my goodness.
My voice can't reach the one most important to me. I walk alone through dusty gray streets forever.
Oh my god.
Forever pounded by lukewarm rain. Such is the fate of the defeated. Still, Ferris is here. Someone find me.
Good gracious, Ferris. You good? What chuny nonsense. If you want attention, come to the lab. Mayuri and I are here for you. I don't actually know if that was my Ferris voice. For some reason, I'm having difficulty doing some of these voices today. Okay, well that's the only response that we can do. Okay. Just the usual members.
I was over the other day.
Invite me next time, huh? I want to talk to some young girls for a change.
Daddy, that's dirty.
No, it isn't. It's a marketing. I'm looking for new customers. Gross. Take out the scary-looking guy trying desperately to explain himself to his daughter. Hilarious.
What do you mean for change? You talk to me every day.
You're not young. Suha is the same age as Daru and I, which makes her older than Mayuri or Kurisu.
Did you say something, Okaberry and Taro?
Only the truth. Nai, your father is happy as long as he has you, okay?
Yep, I know, but don't say dirty things anymore, okay?
It's a promise. Then he joins Pinkies with his daughter. Damn, Mr. Brown, you're way off character. How does a guy like him produce a daughter like that? Naya is one of the kindest, gentlest girls I've ever met. I don't know why she's so afraid of me, though. Anyway, I came here to explain that the building's about to shake. How do I avoid having my head ripped off? How many more earthquakes do you think this building can handle? No, that's way too obvious. An earthquake is coming. My magic eye, reading Steiner, has seen it in the future. Escape while you still can. Yeah, that might work.
Hey, did she and Mayuri stay over yesterday?
Yeah.
So Makise Kurisu stayed too?
Yeah, they're both upstairs.
Oh.
Suzuha's hostility towards Kurisu hasn't abated. And how are you doing? Huh? Are you feeling better?
Oh, yeah, I guess. The search continues.
Huh? What's this, part-timer?
I'm searching for my dad. I told you before, remember?
Oh, right. Go find our old man, Okabe. Why does he think he can boss me around? Naturally. Suzuha's a fellow lab member. Leave it to us. Suzuha looks at me with a smile that shines through the gloom filling the store.
Akabe Rintaro, we're the same age, but sometimes you seem a lot older. You really know how to give people strength.
That's the first time anyone said that to me. Makes me kinda happy. Of course, I am the great Hoin Kyoma! The chipmunk cowers in terror as I unveil my madness. I can see tears pooling in her eyes. I guess my aura is just too powerful for a grade school girl to endure. Okabe, next time you scare Nai, I'll kill ya. Sorry.
Come here a sec.
Suzuha takes my arm and leads me away from the Tenojis, who have gone back to watching TV.
I just want to say, be circumspect in your dealings with Makise Kurisu.
What? Circumspect? Why can't she just say careful like a normal person? Not that I'm one to talk. This again? Aren't you just being paranoid? Suzuha shakes her head firmly.
No, her perniciousness has been proven.
Perniciousness. Yes, okay, I did pronounce that right. Perniciousness? Is she saying Kurisu is dangerous? There's something strange about the way Suzuha is talking, and it's not just her fondness for uncommon words. There's something else. Something...
Her genius is a threat. At heart, she only cares about her experiments.
Suzuha's eyes are hard, and her voice is as cold as ice. I can tell that she means every word she says.
Listen to me. She's using you all. Makise Kurisu is connected to CERN.
What? No, that's impossible.
CERN is our enemy. If Daru's hacking is discovered, I have no doubt they will do everything in their power to destroy us. How can Kurisu be connected to CERN?
You're saying she's a spy? Suzuha nods firmly.
The credit for inventing the time machine was hers.
Again, Suzuha's words sound strange to my ears, but I still can't place my finger on why.
Don't let your guard down.
I don't believe it. I saw Kurisu's anger when she learned what CERN had been doing. She called their actions a betrayal of scientists everywhere. How can someone with such a pure love of science be connected to CERN? But if what Suzuha says is true... Could she be the one who sent that threatening email? I suspected Moeka, but...
Yeah!
Suddenly, the ground starts to shake. Kurisu started the experiment? But I haven't talked to Mr. Brown yet. Damn, it's too soon! Okabe! Sure enough, veins on Mr. Brown's forehead swell in response to the shaking. How many times do I have to tell you not to shake the building? Cute girls or no, I ain't letting you off. Your rent's going up.
Wait, Mr. Brown, this isn't our doing, it's an earthquake. My magic eye, reading Steiner, predicted this would happen.
An earthquake? You think I'll fall for that? The shaking gets more intense, knocking over a CRT. Brown tube, Chad, no! Good gracious. Crap, I can't talk my way out of this one. Okabe, you bastard! Mr. Brown clearly wants to snap my neck like a twig, but he elects to protect his greatest treasure, the 42-inch CRT, instead. He grabs the remote and switches it off, then grabs hold of the TV and hangs on for dear life.
Oh. Is it over?
Looks like it. Wait, it's over? I carefully step through the rubble and take the remote from the dazed Mr. Brown's hand. I press the red power button. The 42-inch CRT instantly comes to life. I stare at the image on the screen and smile.
What's wrong?
I've done it! I've done it! This is the lifter! It's so obvious. Why didn't I see it before? Of course, this must be the work of Steins Gate. It chose this moment for a reason. What the hell are you laughing about, Okabe? You're scaring my daughter. I'm raising your rent, you hear? And you're paying for that CRT. A little silence, please, Mr. Brown. This is a most glorious moment, for I have just been chosen as the ruler of all space and time. Stars explode behind my eyes as Mr. Brown drives his fist into the top of my head. The world spins. I struggle to get a hold of my shaken brain. You dare lay hands on the great... Got something to say? Well then, Mr. Brown, put it on my tab. With that, I fly out of the workshop. I rub my head. It hurts like hell. Damn that Mr. Brown. Did he really have to crack me so hard? Maybe I should report him for assault. Thanks to his brutality, I had to make a strategic retreat. Fortunately, I did not emerge empty-handed. The extra 10,000 yen a month will hurt, but in exchange, I have acquired information essential to the success of my plan. All's well that ends well. Mwahaha!
Okanin, the building just shook. Are you okay?
Mayuri and Kurisu appear in the second-story window.
Looks like you really are unkillable.
I have seen the future, Christina. In 3 minutes, you'll be on your knees praising my greatness.
I don't think so.
I run up the stairs.
How could you miss something so obvious?
When I tell Kurisu about the 42-inch CRT downstairs, that is her first reaction. Why are you blaming me?
I'm not blaming you. I'm just disappointed that nobody, including myself, noticed.
We missed the forest for the trees. To summarize, just now, when the phone wave names to change shook the building, the 42-inch CRT was on. But when Mr. Brown turned the TV off, the shaking stopped immediately.
The discharge was interrupted. I put a banana in just to be sure. Nothing happened. I'm glad. We shouldn't waste food.
Nobody replies to Mayuri's off-point statement. We're busy reading about cathode ray tubes on the internet. It doesn't take long before we find something interesting. A cathode ray tube has a component called an electron gun, which uses extreme heat and a strong electric field to accelerate electrons and turn them into a beam. The electron beam striking the TV screen phosphor layer is what generates the picture. An electron gun could certainly work as a lifter.
We found the answer. The electrons emitted by the 42-inch CRT are holding the phone wave's black hole open. And the discharge phenomenon is the result.
So the reason we can't use the phone wave at night is because the Brown Tube Workshop's closed. The Brown Tube Workshop doesn't have especially strict business hours, but it's usually open from about 11 AM to 7 PM. That matches up perfectly with my observation that the phone waveforms interchange only works between noon and 6 PM. The few instances it hasn't worked during that time frame can be explained by the TV being off. But how can a cathode ray tube emit such a strong electron stream? It's not about having a strong electron stream. If stronger were better, CERN would have solved the lifter problem long ago. I see, so it can't be too strong or too weak. By freak coincidence, the 42-inch CRT's electron gun appears to have exactly the right level of electron discharge. That's the only explanation.
Somehow, the conditions here were perfect to create a time machine. Frankly, it's a miracle.
No, Christina, not a miracle! This is the choice of Steins Gate! Rather than glare at me as she has so many times in the past, Kurishu shoots me an exasperated smile.
Whatever it is, it worked.
Mayuri looks up from her costume with a question in her eyes.
So, what do we have to do to complete Super Phone Wave, Chan? Now that we found the cause, there's nothing left to hold us back. We can safely conclude that time leaping is possible when and only when that television is on.
We should probably test it, right? And there's still the final check of the phone wave to do.
You're right, Okabe.
What?
Go downstairs and turn that TV back on.
That's hilarious, Christina. Allow me to dub that Mission Impossible. I'm not going back down there. My head still hurts from last time. Next time, I doubt I'll make it out alive.
Whatever, just go already.
Kurusu orders me with a sour look. It's like I'm the assistant here.
If anyone can do it, it's you. You made an amazing discovery just now, didn't you?
Assistant mine, have you finally recognized my greatness as a mad scientist?
No.
Ah. Damn, that was harsh.
Oh, whoops. I was supposed to flatter him so he'd feel like going, right? Yes, you're an amazing mad scientist.
It's too late.
Anyway, now that we found the lifter, the time leap machine is 99% complete.
Kurisu's expression suddenly turns serious, but I can see the hunger in her eyes and the flush of excitement on her cheeks. She knows that we stand out on the threshold of a new age of science, and she cannot resist the lure of the unknown. She's a true scientist, no doubt about it.
It's your dream, isn't it, to invent a time machine?
Our dream? I've never really thought about it that way. But she's right, my hands are shaking. Not from fear of Mr. Brown, but from excitement. I will become the undisputed Lord of Time. With that power, I will shatter the system, and chaos will rule the...
Okabe.
Kurisu interrupts my speech.
I wasn't asking Hoin Kyoma, I was asking Okabe.
She spears me with her gaze. I meet it head on. After a few moments, I feel my mouth curve into a smile. I'll do it. Leave it to me. With that, I head downstairs. A cracked skull and an empty wallet are a small price to pay for science. Kurisu and Daru send me off with applause for some reason. Mayuri is the only one who looks worried, but I pat her head in reassurance. When I get downstairs, Suzuha and the chipmunk are sitting side by side on the bench outside.
Sup?
Nai gives me a quick bow, then hides behind Suzuha.
That shaking upstairs put the boss in a bad mood. Nai and I are waiting it out.
Damn, now I really don't want to go in there.
Are you okay? Dad hit you pretty hard.
I'll have you know that my brain is more valuable than the Mona Lisa. Your father may have set humanity back 100 years by wiping out my brain cells.
Such a regrettable loss.
Suzuha clasped her hands in solemn prayer. I'm not dead, just my brain cells.
I'm sorry. Daddy did something bad.
Chipmunk, what a gentle heart you have. I can't believe she's Mr. Brown's daughter. I suppose I share some of the blame. Your father and I are even. I smile slightly at my words of comfort. Now then, part-time warrior, I have a request of you. I need you to distract Mr. Brown for about 5 seconds. Suzuha's eyes start to shine.
You mean seduce him?
She flexes her bicep for some reason.
Go on, touch it.
She insists, so I poke it. It's just as hard as her confidence suggests. Let's check out what these are. Good gracious, I choked on my own excitement. Ryukako!
You and Mayuri-chan don't go places together? You're both lab members, and I heard you were childhood friends, so I thought... I'm sorry if I misunderstood. P.S. I did 30 practice swings with Samadari.
About Mayuri-chan. Oh... I don't know what that's up with... I don't know what's up... Oh my god. I apparently can't talk today, which is really unfortunate since this is entirely about me talking. But... something's going on there. She's probably stronger than me. But I don't understand what flexing has to do with seduction. Nobody said anything about seduction. It doesn't matter how you do it.
I'm not much of a warrior if I can't handle that. Besides, you said you'd help me search for my father, right? I'm only returning the favor.
I see. Then I leave it in your capable hands.
Okie dokie. Suzuha, don't be mean to Daddy, okay? Don't worry, I won't be mean.
Indeed. I want to complain that he's the one being mean, but I just said we were even, so I refrain.
Wait here, Nai.
The chipmunk nods. When we enter the store, we find Mr. Brown cleaning up the pieces of the broken CRT. When our eyes meet, another vein pops on his forehead. If you came to apologize, I'll listen, but your rent's going up, understand? I'm sorry about what happened. I overreacted. As a token of apology, my lab's representative, Amane Suzuha, would like to present you with a gift.
Boss, get ready!
With a vigorous shout, which in no way seems appropriate for seduction, Suzuha whips off her jacket and...
yeah!
Throws it into Mr. Brown's face. I can see her bra. No, wait, that's not a bra, but a tight tank top that leaves her midriff bare. Yet Suzuha shows no sign of embarrassment as she rushes Mr. Brown. She slips behind him, grabs her coat, and pulls it tight against his face.
Okabe Rintaro, now's your chance!
Now wait just a second. Is this your idea of seduction? It looks like you're trying to suffocate him.
Hurry!
Mr. Brown flails his arms, trying to escape Suzuha's restraint. There's a huge difference in strength between the two. It's only a matter of time before he shakes Suzuha off. Well done, warrior! Your heroism will be remembered! Realizing that the only choice is to go for it, I dash to the counter, grab the remote, and switch on the 42-inch CRT. After about 2 seconds, an image appears on the giant screen. At the same time, the ceiling starts shaking. Kurisu activated the phone wavenames to change with perfect timing.
It's shaking again, Okabe Rintaro. What's going on?
Did she really take off her clothes without knowing why? You're a lifesaver, part-time warrior. If you can, keep him restrained for 10 more seconds. During that time, I escape from the store. Outside, Nai is following earthquake drill procedure, crouching while protecting her head. I ignore that and look up to the second floor. At exactly the same time, Kurisu appears in the window and gives me a happy thumbs up. But a second later, she blushes, shoots me a glare, and disappears inside as if nothing happened. What's with her attitude? I'm risking my life here. In any case, the experiment was a success. The 42-inch CRT was the key, as I suspected. Now, how do I explain this to Mr. Brown? I don't want him to kick us out of the building. Perhaps I shouldn't have left it to Suzuha. I timidly peek into the store to gauge the situation.
Come on, boss! Give me back my jacket!
Suzuha is there, fidgeting in her tank top as Mr. Brown glares down at her. Shut up! I'm confiscating this.
You pervert!
You're the pervert, throwing your shirt in my face like some kind of dancer. That was pretty kinky. Gotta remember to thank Okabe after I kill him.
Kinky? Don't say things like that. It's gross.
Yes, it is gross. Thank you. Anyway, you can work like that for the rest of the day. Go stand out front and use that flat tummy of yours to attract customers. Gross!
Tell Nye on you.
Ha, who's she gonna believe? You're her old man.
Damn.
No problems here. So how seduction strategy worked, I guess. Mr. Brown, what a guy. A little while later, I'm lying on the sofa watching high school baseball. Kumamoto and Aichi are locked in a fierce struggle for the playoffs. Just then, the clack-clack of the sewing machine in the lounge suddenly stops.
Okanin, can you come here?
She motions to me while holding the costume. What does she want? I walk over to her.
Can you hold this for me? Spread it out like whoop.
Maishi, say fwap again.
Whoop.
I go to fwap.
Stop it already, perv.
I follow Mayuri's directions and spread the costume out by the sleeves. She inspects it from a few paces away. It's hard to believe, given her usual ditziness, but Mayuri is very serious about her art. That's why cosplayers value her costume so highly. The costume I'm holding now is custom made for Rukako. I thought Rukako was against it, but I guess Mayuri managed to persuade her.
Okay, thanks.
Mayuri looks tired. She's been working all night. But that doesn't dim the brightness of her satisfied smile.
Finished.
It's done?
Yep, I finished before Christian. We were racing. You win, Mayuri. Congratulations.
Damn you, assistant. She treats me and Daru like garbage, but Mayuri gets the sisterly touch.
Actually, I'm just about finished too.
Kurisu connects the two cords she's holding.
Done.
Celebration is in order. But nobody cheers.
It's a tie.
Man, I'm tired. I want Fairy's Town to comfort me. Honestly, I don't feel like cheering either. And it's not because I'm tired. We worked around the clock for 3 straight days to finish the time leap machine, but now that it is complete, I realize that part of me never truly believed it would happen. I feel my enthusiasm cooling rapidly, the fire quenched by one stark question. What do we do with it? I look at Kurisu. She too seems less than enthused.
We may have created a monster here.
I look at the improved phone wave names of the change again. The biggest change is the headgear attached to the X68000. It looks like something out of a low-budget cyberpunk movie. Fortunately, we don't need nerve jacks or brain chips for it to work. You just put it on and let the sensors do the rest. Why don't we decide what to call it first? I vote Heavenly Express. PhoneWave 3rd Edition version 1.00.
Silly have PhoneWave-chan.
No consensus.
You guys have too much free time.
Does that mean you're abstaining from the vote?
Time leap machine.
That's terrible.
Come on. Simple is best, right? I mean, that's what Okabe's been calling it for the past 2 days.
Looks like my assistant has zero naming sense.
I don't want to hear that from a Chunibyo head case like you.
Oh, so Makiseshi knows the word Chunibyo. I sense your otaku level is quite high.
I heard it from a friend. I have no idea where it comes from.
Ha, a bald-faced lie. She should just confess to being a Nat channeler. Kurisu meets my grin with an icy glare. It's up to you, Mayuri. Choose one. Whenever the lab is divided on a name, the right to decide belongs to Mayuri.
I think Time Leap Machine is fine. Silly Half Phone Wave Chan is super close though.
Somehow I knew she'd say that.
Like I said, simple is best. Mayuri gets it.
I want to object, but it's an unwritten rule not to complain once Mayuri's made a decision. Very well, time leap machine it is. Assistant, explain for us all how the time leap machine works. I know the basics, but I want to hear details. Kursu nods and stands in front of the whiteboard.
In short, the device converts memories to data and sends them to the past. Let's begin with what we all know. By free coincidence, the phone wave is able to produce ring singularities, much like John Teeter's time machine. Through the ring singularity, we are able to send up to 36 bytes of data to the past. The signal can only be received by phones. While that does limit the range of effect, it also removed an element of uncertainty from the equation. Unlike D-mails, memory data is sent in the form of a phone call, so we will be using a phone number, not an email address, to set the destination. The ring singularity is made naked and stable by a device known as a lifter. In our case, that's the 42-inch CRT downstairs.
She's explained the basics. Next, she'll explain the modifications she made to turn the phone wave needed to change into a time leap machine.
The phone wave now has headgear attached. This headgear records the nerve impulses in the temporal lobe of the brain, specifically the CA3 region of the hippocampus, where memories are stored. Then, using VR technology, we encode the nerve impulses into electrical signal data.
It comes out to approximately 3.24 terabytes. 3.24 terabytes is less than I expected. We're talking about the entirety of a person's memories.
By the way, we'll set it up so that the data encodes automatically after a certain amount of time. Anybody well versed in programming can do this. I had Hashida make the code. Anyway, next we send the memory data through the net to the LHC in France.
This building has a direct line to CERN for some reason, so we can transfer data at insanely high speeds. How long does it take to send 3.24 terabytes of data? We have 64 direct lines in parallel, so if we send it in 64 parts, it should upload in about 45 seconds. That's pretty fast.
Next, we hijack the LHC, create a mini black hole, and use that black hole's supergravity to compress the data into 36 bytes.
3 terabytes is about 3 trillion bytes. Compressing that into just 36 bytes, that's one hell of a squeeze. Will the compression take long? It's practically instantaneous. 23 milliseconds or thereabouts. We're using a black hole after all.
By the way, the compression only holds in the immediate vicinity of the black hole. Once the data leaves that area, it will begin to decompress on its own. This too takes 23 milliseconds.
Yes, to make it back to the X68000 and into the phone wave within that window. It's only 36 bytes. Shouldn't be a problem. Continue, Christina.
While the data is being compressed, we use the phone wave to generate a Kerr ring singularity. When the electron discharge phenomenon occurs, we take the 36 byte data, patch it in, and send it to the past. This part is just like a D-mail. The data travels to the specified time where it arrives at the recipient's phone. By now, 23 milliseconds should have passed, so the data will be fully decompressed. Next, the decoding program runs, converting the data back into nerve impulse signals. These signals are discharged from the phone's earpiece at approximately 0.02 amperes, a pretty weak charge. If the recipient has the phone to his ear, they should go straight into his brain.
Assuming he answers his phone.
If he doesn't, the transfer fails. Fortunately, we lose nothing but that copy of the memory data.
Why a phone call instead of an email?
Because we need the recipient to put the phone to his ear, otherwise the signals won't reach his temporal lobe.
She indicates the side of her head.
In this area, you have the frontal lobe and temporal lobe of the brain. As I explained before, the hippocampus where memories are stored is inside the temporal lobe. The phone sends out the electrical impulses that pass through the temporal lobe and into the hippocampus, overriding the recipient's memories. At the same time, the phone sends impulses that stimulate the frontal lobe as well. This is important. Remember that the frontal lobe is responsible for sending retrieval signals to the temporal lobe. This is how you remember things. By stimulating the frontal lobe, we force it to send retrieval signals keyed to the new memory data. Thus, the recipient recalls all of those memories as if they were his own. Which of course they are, or will be in the future. This happens in less than a second. Now the recipient has the same memories as the sender, the time leap is complete. If the data came from 1 week in the future, the recipient will remember that week as if he experienced it firsthand. We need to be aware that consciousness and personality aren't transferred. Both of those depend on the recipient.
Explain it with boobs.
Boobs?
Kursu dissolves into a blushing, stammering mess. Looks like it's up to me to answer Daru's question. Not with boobs, obviously. Let's say we send your memories to you in grade school. Right now, you're some kind of omnisexual pervert who thinks inanimate objects are hot. But in elementary school, you were still an innocent child. I was a boring little bastard who did nothing but study. What of it? Basically, that little bastard would suddenly have all your preferred memories, but his personality wouldn't change. It's not like you'll become that It's not like you'll become that famous anime detective with the looks of a child and the brains of an adult. What? That sucks. This isn't like the time leaping you see in sci-fi novels. We aren't yet capable of transferring personality and consciousness.
Ahem. Since you need a phone to receive the signal, you can only send memories to the times you had one. We also need to make sure that the sender and the recipient are the same person. If someone besides your past self, your parents or a friend for instance, answers the phone, then the nerve impulse signals will be projected into their brain instead. If that happens, your memories could overwrite theirs, which could obviously cause serious damage to their psyche.
Kursu ends her explanation and takes a short breath. The lab falls into silence. I exchange glances with Kursu and Daru. I look at Mayuri, but her expression is blank. I guess it was too complicated for her. So, I clear my throat. It's time for the million-dollar question. What do we do with it? Do with what? The time leap machine, of course. What do we do with it? For once, my assistant has nothing to say. I already know that she fears we've created a monster. Honestly, I feel the same way. After a few moments, Kursu finally speaks.
It's too much for us to handle, that's for sure. The safest thing would be to hand it over to the government for professional research.
I can tell that she's not pleased to have reached this conclusion. She obviously would prefer to experiment with this technology. After all, it's humanity's first time machine. We've finally taken our first steps towards godhood. I'm sure that the nations of the world would pay billions for just one look at our machine. The possibilities that it represents are limitless. It just doesn't feel real.
Mayushi doesn't get it.
That's because you didn't work on it, Mayushi.
Alright. What about you, Okabe? And I mean you, not Home and Kyoma.
I agree with Kursu that the time leap machine is dangerous. On the other hand, I want to experiment. I state my honest feelings. Kursu gasps. But there are still questions we need to answer. This is unknown territory, not just for us, but for all of humanity. Who will time leap? I look to each of the lab mems in turn. Daru quickly looks away. Mayuri's expression is blank. Kursu stares right back at me.
It's hard to choose.
I'll pass. Not a single person here wants the honor of being history's first time traveler. Everyone, except for Mayuri, is probably thinking about what could go wrong. What if the time leap were to fail?
It's not like CERN's time machine. The possibility of becoming a jelly man is zero. This machine sends data, not the real thing. Don't let your preconceptions influence your decision. You might say it's like a cut and paste of your brain. Actually, it's more like a copy-paste, and it's just your memories. The original doesn't get erased.
That's a very easy to understand example. But that's not the problem. Time flows in a straight line from past to present to future. At least, that's how most humans see it. This raises several questions. What if there's an error somewhere, and the data itself gets fractalized? Let's say I send my memories an hour into the past.
My memories would be replaced by fractalized data. In other words, data full of tiny holes.
Couldn't that cause memory loss?
I suppose.
1 hour later, we arrive once again at the present. At that time, the me who lost my memories an hour ago and the current me conflict in my brain. Which dataset survives?
Logically, the present should change as soon as you send your memories to the past.
The conflicting current me disappears then. So then it's not a copy-paste at all, is it?
I don't know. No one's ever experienced time travel before.
When we send a D-mail, the world is reconstructed based on the change we made to the past. I'm the only one who's aware of this, however.
We don't know what happens when you time leap. If it's the many worlds interpretation like Teeter said, then the instant you time leap it creates two possibilities, one where you shift to another world line, and one where you travel back in time on the same world line. Of course, there must also be a world line where the current you doesn't disappear. That would likely correspond to the present that we are experiencing right now.
But that's only if the many worlds interpretation holds in the first place. I thought you didn't believe what Teeter had to say.
I'm talking hypothetically. Teeter doesn't matter right now. If it's the Copenhagen interpretation, then every possible state propagates through space as a wave function. When a particular state is observed, the remaining states collapse and that state is fixed.
But precise observation is impossible. The problem is who the observer is in this case. Wouldn't it be a third party, like me or Mayushi? Not necessarily. It might be me, it might be someone else, it could even be God. To begin with, the Copenhagen interpretation and the many worlds interpretation are both microscale theories used to explain quantum interactions. No one knows whether they can be applied to humans or to the world at large. What about my personal experiences with reading Steiner? If reading Steiner is the sort of power I think it is, then the world line model is correct. In the end, we arrive at the same question of where is the self?
This time leap machine only sends memories, that I guarantee.
Won't the present be reconstructed at the moment of transfer? That's what happens with Okarine's reading Steiner, right? That makes sense where D-mails are concerned. When we send a D-mail, we're obviously interfering in past events. But time leaping is different. All you do is send your memories to the past, which isn't the same thing as sending a targeted D-mail. Whether the me who suddenly remembers 1 hour into the future will in fact change the past is something we can't know until it happens. I'm getting confused. Sounds like we're talking about the soul. Isn't that a religious question?
Wait, you guys are misunderstanding something. 1 hour isn't enough time for your personality to change. You should be the same person 1 hour ago that you are now. The only difference is that you'll have an extra hour's worth of memories.
How can you be sure?
Well, I can't. Nobody's tried it before.
This discussion's going nowhere. Personality and consciousness can't be strictly defined, so it's hard to imagine what might happen.
So, which is it? We don't know. We can argue the theories all we want, but in the end, we can only guess. This experiment may end up shattering preconceptions scientists and philosophers have held for centuries.
We won't know until we try. That pretty much sums it up. To make matters worse, the subject must be prepared to risk damage to their psyche. Kurisu, Daru, and I say no more. We can't solve this problem. This is our limit as scientists. But haven't we accomplished enough already? The time leap machine itself is worthy of a Nobel Prize. We could sell this technology for billions if we so chose. And if we go public with the time leap machine, we can break CERN's monopoly on time travel technology. That's enough. It has to be.
Hey!
Mayuri, who has been observing the discussion with glassy eyes, opens her mouth to speak.
I have an idea. Why don't we make a banana time leap instead? Oh, Mayuri. Bananas don't have brains like people do. Oh, you need a brain, huh?
Mayuri never changes. The atmosphere in the room gets a little more relaxed. Let's not experiment. We'll entrust the time leap machine to a suitable research institution, then we'll announce it to the world. Thanks to the lightening of the mood, I can finally say what was on my mind. And the Kurusu Nundaru objects. And I think that that is a pretty good place to cut it. We finally have a time leap machine. We finally have it all completed. And perhaps this is the end for us. We are going to hand it off to somebody else, and somebody else will deal with it. Or will they? But anyways, thank you all so much for following my playthrough of Steins Gate. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.